You have total control over your life. Most people seem to be under the impression that life just happens to you versus happening for you. Most people are under the impression that your destiny is pre-written and that you have no control over your life. But that is complete bullshit. Now I'm going to tell you why it's complete bullshit, and I'm going to tell you what you can do to take control of your life. And the reason I can speak on this is because I was one of those people that believed that life was just pre-written destiny that we had no control over. So up until about 2015, 2016, I was just living life on autopilot, doing whatever I felt like doing, whatever I wanted to do. I was literally not concerned at all with improving my life and becoming a better version of myself. Obviously, there were a few things like, trying to do better at my job, trying to make more money and things like that. But I didn't really think I had full control of my life. I was essentially a hamster in a cogwheel, just, working for the system and living my life on autopilot, not really concerned with the habits that are going to get me to essentially where I wanted to go, because I felt like I had no control over my life. I felt like I was just going through the motions of life and whatever happened. So luckily for me, I ran across the documentary The Secret. I was hanging out with one of my buddies and he's like, "Hey, have you heard about The Secret?" And I was like, "Oh shit, The Secret? What's The Secret, bro? Like, tell me The Secret. Everybody wants to know The Secret." He's like, No. It's a documentary on Netflix. It's called The Secret. You should check it out. It sounds cool, right? The Secret. Who doesn't want to know The Secret? So sure enough, I went home. I went on Netflix, typed in The Secret. I started watching it. And I was blown away by the information that I heard on there. My life has been completely different. I have a whole different perspective on life after watching The Secret. Now, looking back on it, The Secret is very surface level. It's not really as amazing as I thought it was back then. But the reason it was amazing for me back then is because up until that point, I just thought life was just this thing that happens to us. We don't have any control over it. Until I watched The Secret, and The Secret said that we have total control over our lives based on the things that we think, feel, and do. So for me, that was a whole game changer where I was like, damn, life is actually not at all what I thought it was. And watching The Secret has actually led me to getting into things like personal development, discipline, self-confidence, being more empowered or empowering others, and just overall creating a better life for myself. I realized that, hey, nobody's coming to save me. I am in total control of how my life ends up. And I knew from then on that my life is going to be completely different, because now I had this mindset shift of, hey, life just doesn't happen to you. It's not something that you just go with the flow. Life is actually something that you have total control over, and what you do on a daily basis will essentially determine the outcome of your entire life, right? So from that point on, I was dedicated and I committed to improving myself and becoming the best version of myself. And I quickly went down the rabbit hole of figuring out, hey, what does it actually take to become the best version of yourself? Like, what are these daily habits that I need to ingrain in my life to become the best version of myself? So I quickly started looking up different books, different videos, reading different blogs, just essentially figuring out what clues were left by the successful people. Basically, I figured out what I wanted with my life, and then I reverse engineered it by seeing, hey, who has been on this planet already and that's done what I want to do? Because I know that success leaves clues, so I was committed to figuring out what these clues were. Like, first of all, figuring out who could have left these clues, and it's by finding people that have achieved what I want to achieve, and figuring out if maybe they had some books, maybe they had some audio tapes, they had seminars. Whatever the case was, I was determined to figure out what those clues were, so that way I can bring them into my life and continue following their clues. And I know if I just did what they did, I would essentially get to where they where they got. This mindset shift and looking at life in a different way was completely life-changing. I ended up figuring out exactly what I needed to do. I got to work. I figured out how fucking hard it was, and it wasn't easy. And the proof that you have total control over your life is, imagine you are on a health journey, right? Like you want to be the healthiest version of yourself. Now, if you're somebody that thinks that life just happens to you, then you're just going to continue doing whatever you want to do and know that you basically have no control over your life, which means you will most likely just go to work, come home, sit on the couch, eat junk food, and watch TV. What are the chances of you being healthy? Very fucking slim, unless your job is very physically demanding. But imagine if you knew that life happens for you and you knew that you had total control over your life. You wouldn't just sit on the couch and watch TV and eat junk food, because you know that that doesn't bring you closer to the healthiest version of yourself. You know that if you did that, you would be unhealthy. So what do is you start exercising, you work out, whatever kind of exercise you like to do. You watch what you eat, make sure you don't eat junk food all the time or shitty ass processed food. You make sure that you don't sit on the couch and be a lazy fucking bum all day long. And you actually get to work. Sure, it may be hard, and it probably will be hard, but the thing is, if you do hard things now, life will essentially be easy in the future because you've set yourself up for success. You've also programmed your mind to deal with these hard things. And the way I look at it is, if I put myself in deliberate discomfort, then when life throws those hard things at me, I will be more prepared to deal with those hard things and they won't have a big toll on me. Versus if I don't put myself in deliberate discomfort, then when life throws those hard things at me, and it will happen regardless of what you do. When life throws those hard things at you, you won't be able to deal with them in a good way, in a good positive way. They'll be extremely taxing on you. They may even make things worse for you because now you have this hard thing that life is throwing at you and you just don't know how to deal with it. Versus if you put yourself in deliberate discomfort, now it's like, okay, I have already been uncomfortable and I've learned how to calm down my nervous system so I can deal with this in a better way. So that's how I look at it, as if I do the hard things now, life will be easy. You're just basically conditioning your mind and you're building this resilience of being able to handle those hard things, right? It's just putting in the reps of deliberate discomfort. Now, a lot of people who are on a health journey or who have tried going on this health kick, they would go to the gym for a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever, and not see any progress. And that will just be proof for them that, hey, life just happens to me and I have no control over it, just because they haven't seen the proof in the short amount of time. But you and I both know that it may take years of me going to the gym to actually see some progress that I am happy with. And that will be proof to us that, hey, life actually happens for me and I have total control over my life. Because what I did is every single day or 5 days a week, whatever, I spent working out, or I spent biking, or I spent swimming or whatever, and I'm finally starting to see the progress. That means that if I didn't do those things, if I didn't exercise, I wouldn't see the progress, right? So it really comes down to your daily habits. Are you taking these daily habits and creating the life of your dreams? Or are you just saying, yeah, fuck it, life is just whatever and I have no control over it? Like, it's literally up to you. To me, that's the easiest proof to see that, hey, we have control over our lives. If I'm working out every day, I will see the proof. That means I am controlling this. If I eat shitty foods versus good foods, I know that I'm going to get sick over time because the food is detrimental to my health. Versus if I eat healthy foods, I know that I will be healthier long term. So to me, there's so much proof out there that shows that we have control over our lives. And nobody can do it for you. Nobody can exercise for you and you have a better life. You have to do it yourself. Sure, you can have people help you out, figuring out different workout programs, different diet plans, just different things like that. You can have people help you, but ultimately it's up to you. The choice is yours, whether you go to the gym or you stay at home and eat fucking Cheetos all day long watching TV, right? It's ultimately your choice and your decision. So the choices we make throughout our days are what determine our life, essentially. And I don't know about you, man, but I am committed to becoming the best version of myself, becoming that 2.0 version of myself that Bedros Keuilian talks about. And that to me is the ultimate motivator. I don't want to get to my deathbed and fucking regret that I didn't become the best version of myself. So I wake up every single day determined to do everything I fucking can to be that best version of myself. Now, sure, you can remain average if you want, man. You can remain a victim of your life. You can continue thinking that life happens to you versus for you. That's completely fine. You can do that. But chances are, if you're listening to this episode or this podcast in general, it's not what you want. You can continue living the same life. You can continue being fucking unsatisfied with your life. That's completely up to you. But you know what happens if you continue doing that? If you continue living the same life and not trying to progress, you regret things that you could have done but didn't do. When you get to your deathbed, that regret will eat you up, man. I promise you that. There are so many different books and different videos and whatever it is that you prefer to get your information from. There's so much information out there that interviews old people, and the number one regret for those old people is that they didn't do what they wanted to do. They didn't do what they knew they could do. Instead, they gave in to the resistance. And the way I look at it is when we get to the afterlife, right? Obviously, nobody knows what happens in the afterlife, but we all have our thoughts on it. We all have our theories on it. And my theory is that when I get to the afterlife, God will have this version of me. He's like, hey, this is the 2.0 version of yourself. This is the best version of yourself that you could be. And my goal is to get to the afterlife and be a direct reflection of that 2.0 version of myself, right? And God is like, hey, this is who you could have been and this is who you are. They're literally twins. Now, regret is when you get to the afterlife and here's the 2.0 version of yourself and here's the version that you have been your entire life. Here's the piece of shit that you fucking have been, and it's a complete 180 from what you could have been. That's regret. And that's where this Ouroboros comes in. You will get reincarnated into this plane of existence because you didn't fulfill your purpose, which is becoming the best version of yourself. So now you have to do it all over again and go through this cycle of becoming the best version of yourself so you can transcend to a higher plane of existence. I don't think we ever die. I don't think our souls are ever gone. So there has to be some kind of different planes of existence, right? So if you become the 2.0 version of yourself, that's essentially you leveling up. You get into the end of the video game and you maxing out all of your stats. Okay, well now there's no point in you going back to level 1. Now you transcend to a next level and you continue leveling up that way. So Earth is just a certain type of level in this video game that we call life, where the whole point of it is to become that 2.0 version of yourself. Now, if you don't, you're going to regret it and you're going to have to relive this experience, and hopefully you will learn the second time around, or third or fourth or fifth or sixth, however many times. But essentially the goal is to do these things that will contribute to that higher version of yourself and that best version of yourself. So the things I want you to take away from this episode is to remember that you are not a victim. Life isn't after you because of whatever reason. It doesn't pick and choose who gets what. It literally mirrors your inner reality. So if you are thinking that you're a victim, then that's what you will experience. And just know that everything happens for a reason, right? All these quote unquote bad things that we think are happening to us, these negative things that we think are negative, just know that they're not necessarily bad. It's all about your perspective. It's all about how you look at it. If you look at it as a bad thing, yes, it will be a bad thing. But I urge you to not look at it as a bad thing. Think about it this way. Let's say me and you go on a roller coaster ride in one of those theme parks, right? And I come out of it and I'm so thrilled. I'm like, holy shit, that was the best time of my life. And you come out of it and you're like, man, that was fucking horrible. That was the worst time of my life. I'm never doing this again. Me and you just had the same experience, right? But why did I have an amazing experience and you didn't? It was all because of our perspective. It was because the way we looked at it. I looked at it as an enjoyable ride, whereas you might have looked at it as a sense of fear of like, hey, this just sucks. I may die on this. So it's all about how we look at it. So I urge you to look at these quote unquote bad things, and instead of saying that they're bad things, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What can I learn from this experience? Because everything in life is happening for us. So if we can learn how to question these quote unquote bad things and see what they're trying to teach us, then we're not going to continue repeating that cycle of bringing up those negative experiences over and over again. Instead, we're going to learn what we need to learn from it and then just let it go. But if we continue looking at it as a bad thing and not learning what it's trying to teach us, it's going to continue repeating itself until we actually learn what it's trying to teach us. There's a lesson in everything that we do. So don't look at things as good or bad. Look at things as, hey, what is this trying to teach me? Even if it's a good thing, hey, what is this teaching me, right? And if you continue doing this, just remember that like attracts like. So if you are constantly looking at things as bad and you're putting your energy on these bad things, then life is just going to give you more of those bad things because you're attracting it with your energy. Now, if you look at these negative experiences and you look at them as a good thing, meaning that they're here to teach you something, then you're going to get more good from it, right? So like energy attracts like energy. And this will also teach you to think good thoughts. So you're not always thinking negative about whatever experience you're dealing with. You're thinking good thoughts. It's not, oh, damn, why is this happening to me or whatever. You're actually thinking that, hey, this is actually good. Regardless of how bad it seems, it's actually good because it's teaching me something, or it's trying to teach me something. And now my job is to figure out what that lesson is. What can I learn from this? What can I gather from it? So that way it doesn't continue repeating itself. And that's not just on a personal level. It's not just for us. You have to think of the law of oneness, which is a universal law versus the man-made laws. If you abide by universal laws, life gets so much better. So the law of oneness basically states that we are all connected. There's a study done on these meditators who sat down and meditated. And the crazy thing is the crime rate during that time that they were meditating actually went down. It was lower during their meditation. Now, it has nothing to do with them not committing crimes. It has to do with the energy that they were putting out. They were actually affecting the entire planet by doing this meditation. They were actually sitting down and thinking good thoughts, which not only made them feel better, but also affected the entire planet, which in turn lowered the crime rate. So what we do on a daily basis isn't just affecting us, it's affecting the entire planet. So energy is completely contagious. And if we all just strive to be better human beings and not hurting other people, then the entire planet would be better. And we would live on a better plane of existence collectively. So this collective consciousness is all tied into each and every single one of us. So the way that we feel is a direct reflection of how the entire planet feels. And also how the entire planet feels is a direct reflection of how we feel. So with that being said, I want you to be grateful for everything that you have. If you exist in a state of gratitude and abundance, the state of fear and lack cannot exist. They can't exist simultaneously. So if you can put yourself in this energetic field of gratitude and abundance, then more of that will come to you, but also not just come to you, the entire planet will benefit from it. So don't just be fucking selfish and assume that, hey, I'm just doing this for myself. No. You're doing this for the entire collective consciousness. Yes, you are doing it personally, but it's affecting the entire collective consciousness. It's affecting every single person. We may not see it directly, we may not feel it directly, but I promise you it is affecting everybody else, no matter how big or small. So if we continue to Be grateful for what we have. We're not only helping ourselves, but we are also helping the entire planet. And that's what it's about, right? It's not about just being selfish and doing it for ourselves. It's about leaving an impact on the world, a positive impact on the world. So that's pretty much all I have. If you need anything else, let me know. If you like what you heard, go ahead and leave a like here, leave a review, leave a comment. And if you didn't like what I said, or if you disagree with something, still leave a fucking comment so we can discuss it. If you're enjoying this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you get notified on all of the new episodes that I put out. And if there's something specific that you want me to discuss, or you want me to talk about, go ahead and message me or comment and let me know what it is that you want me to discuss, and we'll go from there. See you on the next one.